The strategy is made, the team is allocated. Why waste time on planning? We will figure out as we go. Let's execute. Welcome to this next episode on the execution series. Today we'll decode execution planning, why it is important, and why mastering it makes a difference between success and failure of a project. A survey says that projects where there's a planning have 42% more probability of a success. And that is true. So let's start by understanding what execution planning is. Execution planning is a process of converting strategies and goals into practical, structured, and achievable action plans. Execution planning is just not task listing. It is understanding the risks, defining the monitoring mechanisms, allocating the resources, understanding the constraints. Let's take an example. For example, an organization decides to build a new manufacturing line. Execution planning breaks that process into multiple activities that are needed to achieve the final goal of commissioning the whole plant. It will involve acquisition of land, regulatory resources, timelines to do the civil works, procurement of items, assigning of resources to do different activities. So that's what execution planning does. Execution planning is done even before the first activity is done on the ground. So why execution planning matters? I list down three major reasons for it. The first one is it avoids underestimation. A study says that we always underestimate the cost, time, and risks in a project. Execution planning removes this by structured detailing. So it is important to do to not underestimate the project. The second one is planning is a bridge between strategy and actions. What planning does is define each and every activity. It defines the resources, it defines the risks, it defines the time, cost, and budget, and it helps to put a structure to an overall objective. The third thing, it improves predictability and confidence. When you spend time on planning, you are aware, a project leader or a project team is aware of what is going to come. It gives them the confidence of predicting some of the things, even if there are certain assumptions taken. It is always good to do some pre-work, and that predictability and confidence grows within the team to execute. So when that actual execution is happening, there's much more confidence in delivering. So what does a good execution plan deliver? A good execution plan, and I'll take the top 5 or 6 important ones. A good execution plan delivers a scope, which is what this whole project is about to do. It delivers the timelines that are needed to complete the project, the cost budgets that you would incur in delivering the project. It defines the resources, the responsibilities, and their assignments. It defines the risks that are associated with the project. It defines the whole monitoring mechanism when the project comes into execution phase. All of these things are extremely critical, and there are a few more. For example, communication, stakeholder management, and there's a whole list around it, which we'll probably cover at some other point of time. But the point is that execution planning is doing all that at an early stage, so that when execution starts, the risks are much less, the surprises are much less, and you're able to deal with the surprises. The surprises will come, but you are able to deal with it. Is there a downside for execution planning? Yes, there is. There are certain project teams that spend a large amount of time on planning. Huge timelines on planning doesn't really convert into a successful execution. We need to be aware of that. And over planning is a phenomenon that quite a few organizations and projects do. But over planning is just a waste of time. You need to be optimum in terms of planning, because anyway, when you put the plan in action and execution starts, there are things that are bound to change, however good a plan is. So if you're spending too much time, you're actually wasting some of the time. So plan optimally, put it as fast into execution phase, and make the changes as conditions change on the site. So this is what it is on planning, and a good plan delivers all of this. So let's summarize. Remember, planning is just not thinking, is detailing out as much as possible each steps with the information available to you at that point of time. A good planning eases the execution and makes it faster. As the saying goes, if you fail to plan, you plan to fail. Thank you for tuning in. Till next time, when we take the next topic on execution. Goodbye.